On today's show, we head back in time for a horse of a story to Silver Lake High School with artist Althea Freeman-Miller, hear from Talking Information Center and original poetry from Sara Grady, visit Zserbo Bakery in Pembroke, talk about upcoming events in our South Shore towns, and PopUp Part 2 at the Plymouth Christmas Tree Lighting. It's the most wonderful time of the year, and we're glad you're here. Let's get started. Just before the beginning of King Caesar Road in Duxbury is the Spar Soak, a property of the Duxbury Rural and Historical Society. There stands a monument to Honest Dick, a faithful horse who died in 1846. Here's the story.
The Spar Soak is an area in Duxbury that sits off of Bay Pond Road, just before it intersects Powder Point Avenue. Driving past, this marsh appears unremarkable. In the heyday of Duxbury's shipbuilding era, though, this land, or more specifically, the water running through here, played an important role. Timber was soaked and stored in the saltwater ponds to keep them from warping before the shipbuilders turned them into masts. But there's another connection to Duxbury's shipbuilding history on this site. It sits tucked away in a nest of trees, barely visible from the street. It's a 6-foot-high brick memorial building holding a beautifully carved epitaph to a horse named Honest Dick. What's the story behind this touching tribute, and why is it here? Born in 1817, Honest Dick was the noble, loyal horse that served Duxbury's most prominent shipbuilding family, the Westons. Ezra Weston, known as King Caesar in the shipbuilding world, began constructing small fishing sloops and schooners in the 1760s. In the 1790s, he and his son, Ezra II, known as King Caesar II, set their sights on becoming a transoceanic merchant force, aspiring to sell and ship everything from cod to cotton. To achieve this, they began building bigger ships. They succeeded, but didn't like how extremely high cordage costs were choking their profits. To alleviate this, King Caesar II built a rope walk, and the family began making their own cordage to fit the ships he was building. One of his earliest employees at the rope walk was Honest Dick. Honest Dick worked in the cellar of a narrow, 1,000-foot-long building. From dawn to dusk, he walked a circular track, pushing a big wheel into motion and powering the machinery above that his human co-workers needed to twist strands into rope. Manufacturing cordage is extremely labor-intensive, and horses were often used in rope walks this way. These beautiful beasts provided the muscle needed to help make the process more efficient and less arduous for the humans involved. For 3 generations, Honest Dick served the Weston family. He saw the shipbuilding empire through its years of peak production and prosperity to its eventual decline. When Honest Dick died in 1846, his death coincided with the end of an era for the Weston family. With the passing of King Caesar II a few years before their horse, the new generation of Westons were simply not as interested in keeping the business going. But more significantly, external forces were at play in the downfall as well. Railroads and steamships were quickly becoming the preferred mode of transporting goods and travel. Faster clipper ships were replacing the slower Duxbury vessels. Replacing these clippers required a depth deeper than the Duxbury Bay could provide, so many of the shipbuilders moved to Boston. Sensing all these changes, the sons perhaps saw the death of Honest Dick as closing the book on a final chapter in this part of their family's history. They commemorated this moment in time with a heartfelt and fitting permanent tribute to their loyal workhorse. Shortly after Honest Dick died, the Weston sons tore down the rope walk. On the site, they buried Honest Dick and erected the monument. When the property was later sold, Honest Dick's memorial was moved here to the Spar Soak location, where we stand reading this eulogy to a beloved and steadfast family friend. Some of the most touching tributes to the past can be found just off the beaten path, like this brief remembrance of Honest Dick, a loyal, hard-working horse with a history deeply rooted in Duxbury's shipbuilding past. Thanks for spending time with the local scene.
Boston's Great Molasses Flood will be the topic of educator Nancy Frank's presentation at the Kingston Council on Aging on January 5th at 10 a.m. Frankly Speaking Fridays is a new monthly series planned until May of 2024. These focused small group learning events will include discussion on an array of topics and conclude each presentation with a fun raffle of small prizes related to the theme. These informative programs are free, but limited to 25 attendees. Call 781-585-0511 to register. We went on the local scene to Silver Lake Regional High School, where art teacher Hannah Close hosted printmaker Althea Freeman-Miller for a demonstration on block printing.
There are so many different benefits to bringing a guest artist in. Number one, she has professional experience in selling her artwork. She has professional experience in managing a gallery space. She has professional experience in what it's like to go from school to like out in the real world that I don't have on a regular basis. It makes it amazing because not only are the students learning things about the medium that they may or may not get from me, but I'm learning things that even I didn't know about.
It was really interesting, actually. Like, we talked about what's a commission. We talked about, like, how do you decide, you know, what your prices are, or if you're going to sell online or in person. How do you balance your artist self and a business making and selling art? So, yeah, I feel like I learned a lot, too, even hearing myself answer, and just so interesting to see what is interesting to them, you know. So.
Students that don't really know where to start can kind of have an idea of what they want to do too, and kind of just get inspired to do stuff on their own like she does.
I also think that a lot of people get pushed towards college when she obviously shows that there can be other ways. You can do what you love and still make money off of it and still make a living.
Honestly, I didn't even really know how to do the linoleum stuff, so I learned pretty much everything about that.
Yeah, I didn't know the process that went into printing at all, and she taught us all about how she has a big printing press and how she carves her designs out of wood on a bigger machine.
This is a really nice little piece that one of my freshmen, my Art 1 students, did just this morning. That student pretty much had never done it before and dove right in and was able to create this thing that she's really proud of. And I think everyone in the class, even though it was basically their beginning time, had to experience I created this thing and now I can make this other thing and I can refine it, and you know, it was a sort of an instant success and a fun moment for all of them. This one's been really special because some of the kids had actual connections to the artist because she's so local, right? Because a lot of area students visit Martha's Vineyard, where her gallery is and where her work is on display throughout the towns. So I even had a student who had bought a piece of hers recently, which was super fun. You know, it helps them get a sense that artists are real people and they have real careers and they're around, and you know, they're not only in big cities, and you know, you don't have to be only a painter at, you know, the Jackson Pollock level to make it as fame, right? You can, there's a lot of different ways to be an artist, just like there's a lot of different ways to be, you know, engineer, right?
I studied elementary education actually in Vermont, and eventually found myself at a point where I was like, what am I doing? What am I gonna do with my life? And actually my mom, one day I remember her being like, what would you go do if you had nothing to worry about? You know, if you had everything that you needed and everything was okay, what would you go do today? And I was like, huh. And it was carving. Just went to carve linoleum and found that that was really meditative, and I don't know, I just felt myself when I was doing that, and so I just kept doing it for about 12 years, and here I am. I think we all have a creator in us. We are humans. That's part of us being, is creating, and whether it's me creating this sentence I'm saying to you right now, or me creating the way I want to drive home, or the way I want to dance or make art. And it's a way to express emotion, but also get into a flow state and to really be with yourself as a human. I just like to be an example that you really can follow that calling, or you can stop and ask yourself, oh, what would I do if I really could do whatever I wanted, you know? And so I really try to just live as an example of that. So this is a really cool opportunity for me.
So we are super lucky in that we have 3 different towns, Kingston, Plimpton, and Halifax, that all have local cultural councils that us as art teachers can apply to. And myself and Ms. McGuire have applied, and over the last couple of years, I've been able to bring in numerous guest artists with the generous support of the local cultural councils. And also our PTO has supported us as well. So without the support of the parents and the other families and other people in the town of Kingston, right, the school doesn't get to do extras, right? They don't get to support on the breast cancer walk or the craft fair that was last weekend. Those things, the children are not standing alone independently in their education, right? It's a team effort, and I think sometimes we forget because we don't get to see into the classroom. So this is actually a cool opportunity that you get to see into the classroom and see what they're doing, what that grant money is supporting.
To see more of Althea's work, visit altheadesigns.com. Explore the power of the protest song on January 14th from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Duxbury Free Library's Sunday Arts and Culture Series in a performance and presentation by jazz musician, activist, educator, and singer-songwriter Pamela Means. At this family-friendly event, Pamela will explore the origin stories of protest songs and how they continue to resonate and inspire throughout time and cultural shifts. Pamela will also share her own perspective and experiences of becoming an artist and using her unique voice. This powerful session will include an assortment of original songs and recognizable covers in a demonstration of how mobilizing and unifying protest songs can be. This program will take place in the Merry Room and is presented by the Friends of the Duxbury Free Library. Visit the library's website to register. Using traditional family recipes to make every delicious indulgence from scratch, Zserbo is a gourmet bakery in Pembroke that serves unique Hungarian and Caribbean-influenced delicacies. We stopped in for a visit with owner and baker Anita Borbeli.
I grew up in Hungary. I've been baking ever since I could remember. I was probably 3 or 4 when I started. We used to bake with my family and friends and cousins, and we baked for like family events, weddings, birthday parties, that kind of stuff. And as the years went by, I started baking for friends. I just got busier and busier every year. And I decided to start my own business and make it official. I went to nursing school in London. I lived in London for 10 years in England, and that's how I came here through my nursing job. I was actually working at Queen's Medical Center for a year when I got to the States, and right now I'm still working in Boston. I'm an ER nurse, and I still do that part-time. I started during COVID. Obviously everybody was stressed out and they all wanted to leave nursing, and so I thought I'd do something on the side, and just to distract myself and something more relaxing. So I started online. It was an online business. I was renting a commercial kitchen, first in Kingston, and then I moved to Rockland. Once the farmers market started to open up, I started doing farmers markets and also shipping. So that's how it all began. And then I picked up more and more markets over the past couple of years, and I just got too busy that I needed my own space. There wasn't much in this space. It used to be a function room for a restaurant. I did a lot of research, and I definitely wanted a European vibe. I just wanted it to be cozy and comfortable and something simple but classy. And some people say when they walk in here, they feel like they just walked into Europe. We do sell a lot of European products, books, candy, but also a lot of local stuff. Zserbo is from Hungary. It's an apricot walnut pastry with dark chocolate on top. It's rich, it's different, but that flavor combination of the nuts and the apricot and the chocolate is just very unique. I feel like apricots in the US are not that popular or well known, but people are really liking it. I feel like our pastries are not as sweet as like the American cakes and the buttercream and all that. It's a lot less sugar, a lot lighter, smaller portions as well, but that's everywhere in Europe, I think. And I feel like you can actually taste the pastries better. They have a lot more flavor because of the less sugar and all the different flavors we use. We do use a lot of poppy seed in Hungary. We make a couple of different poppy seed breads, especially around the holidays, Christmas and Easter, and some poppy seed cookies and breads. Oh, the double story. That one is 17-layer cake. It's I usually do 8 layers of very thin sponge cake, and then 8 layers of chocolate buttercream, and then a hard caramel on top. And it is very time consuming, but it's beautiful and it's delicious. That's my favorite cake. I love making it. And it's different, nobody else makes it. We've been very busy, luckily, ever since we opened. Our customers are really wonderful, and everyone's been very nice and helpful and sharing posts and advertising. And I just find it very relaxing. Everybody that walks in the door is happy and smiling, and they love the baked goods and the smell, the atmosphere.
There are immense warning signs of our Earth in trouble, found in animal species extinction, global insect declines, climate change, and diminishing bird populations that paint a bleak reality for future generations. The good news is that none of this is inevitable. There's a new blueprint to conservation that starts in your own backyard. Join the Plymouth Public Library to welcome Nature's Best Hope author, entomologist, professor, ecologist, and conservationist Douglas Tallamy on January 16th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. In this program, he will discuss Nature's Best Hope's themes of sustainability and conservation, including how you can get involved in creating more environmentally conscious, low-impact ways of living. Visit the Plymouth Public Library website to register. What's better than lighting up the Christmas tree with family and friends? Making the night twinkle with the whole town. Here's part 2 of our pop-up at Plymouth's Kiwanis Christmas Tree Lighting.
With Suki and Harper, and you're going to tell me, what is your favorite holiday tradition?
My favorite holiday tradition is getting our Christmas tree and taking out all the ornaments and going through all the old memories of each ornament and the pictures that are on the old ones and the ornaments that the kids made and hanging them up.
Do you have a favorite ornament?
No, I don't really have a favorite. We had a really nice one that broke last year, so that was a big bummer, but we get a new one every year, so it's kind of tough to pick one favorite one.
And what's your favorite holiday tradition?
I love waking up really early and then waking everyone else up.
How early are we talking now?
Like 6.
6 o'clock in the morning? You poor mom. I love it. Do you hope Santa's going to bring you anything good this year?
Yeah.
What did you ask for? What's your Christmas list?
PS5, video games.
Very nice. Well, happy holidays, guys. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Happy holidays.
No, don't do that. It's a break.
What is the best gift you've ever received for Christmas?
I think it would be a PC I got from last year.
Oh, cool. Do you still use it?
Yeah, I use it.
Awesome. What kind of stuff do you use it for?
Like making games on Roblox.
Oh, fun.
Or playing Fortnite.
Oh, nice. Fortnite. That's great. Now, can I ask you, what's your favorite holiday tradition?
It probably is going with my aunt's house and playing with my cousins.
Nice. Do you eat anything good?
Yeah, we eat like turkey sometimes.
Nice. Very cool. Thank you so much. High five. Awesome. Steven, who is an up-and-coming journalist at EdTV. You're working on a story right now. Can you want to talk about that?
Sure. I'm working on a story about the business fair at SES. First, you go to the high school or middle school, and then there'll be a bunch of like stands with other people at the stands, and those people at these stands are selling products, and there's a whole bunch of cool stuff there, and I want to do my news story about that.
That's amazing. Do you want to be a journalist when you grow up?
Yeah, I'm actually, when I heard that I could actually get into EdTV, I was so excited.
So what kind of investigative reporting would you do, you think, when you grew up?
Honest, I don't know. Maybe some like big events, probably like this one.
Like this one? Well, I'm telling you, you have the chops for it. You have a great voice, and you have a very good stage presence. So I'm impressed. Can I ask you what you're looking forward to this holiday season?
I'm looking forward to having for the Christmas vacation. We have each in Christmas Day, when we wake up, we do all the presents, and when everyone does the presents and all of our family is down in the living room where we are, we do a scavenger hunt, finding different letters, and those different letters form together as one word, and the word spells where we're gonna go for a Christmas vacation, and I really like doing it. It's very fun.
Oh my gosh, where did you go last year?
Last year I went to Costa Rica.
Costa Rica, oh my gosh, you're a traveling guy too. That's amazing. Well, happy holidays. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, it was good to be here.
Who are running the 5K. How long have you been running the 5K?
I think this will be our third year doing it together.
Oh my gosh, I'm so impressed. Do you guys run a lot?
We do. We're doing one 5K every month for this whole year. So this is our last 5K for 2023.
Wow, what other 5Ks have you done?
Oh, we did one in Middleborough, the Pratt Farm. We did a Halloween one. We tried to do themed fun ones that we can find, but we've managed to find one every month to do.
Well, you look great. So when you run, you're gonna look fabulous, and I'm so impressed. So what are your favorite things to eat during the holiday season?
My favorite to eat burger.
Burgers? What kind of burger?
Medium well.
Medium well, that's important. That's how I take my burger too. And lots of ketchup and lots of mayo. That's what I need. What are your favorite things to eat during the holidays?
Any type of Christmas dessert.
Heck
Christmas
yeah.
cookies, Christmas cupcakes, Christmas cake, peppermint bark, anything sweet.
Do you bake?
I try.
Same. Not always successful. Well, thank you so much for stopping by and talking to us. Happy holidays.
All right, thanks, and same to you.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
With Dawn and Megan. Now I gotta tell you, you guys have a very special relationship. Can you tell me about that?
Well, Megan is the most wonderful young lady, and she is my son's girlfriend. And on top of that, she's a runner like myself and a dietitian. We both are runners and dietitians, but she is the better, faster runner for sure.
And she's the better dietitian.
And you guys are running the 5K tonight? Very exciting. What advice do you have for like runners who are just getting started?
I would say don't put too much pressure on it. If you want to walk, walk. If you want to run, run. And just take your time, slow down, and enjoy it.
All right, can you give me a diet tip? I need all the tips I can get.
Everything in moderation.
I love it. I love that. That's a great line. Okay, so I gotta ask, what is your favorite holiday tradition?
Well, this one's going to be first and maybe more.
Oh.
I pick a running race, and you know, I love this. This is special for us.
Oh, this is really nice. Well, happy holidays. Good luck at the 5K tonight. Thank you so much for joining us.
Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers is the Pembroke Public Library Book Club choice for Tuesday, January 2nd from 6:30 to 7:30 p.m. In this enthralling mystery by Jesse Q. Sutanto, elderly Vera's forgotten Chinatown tea shop becomes the scene of a suspicious death, and Vera transforms from lonely shopkeeper with time on her hands to obsessive crime sleuth in an odd but special way that reinvigorates her world. New members are always welcome to book club. To request a copy of Vera Wong's Unsolicited Advice for Murderers, or for more information, call the library at 781-293-6771. Next up is poet Sara Grady with a reading of her original work.
So our next reader is Sara Grady.
I appreciate the shout out to the North and South Rivers watershed because that's where I work. So, this is my second time doing Plymouth Reading. My first 3 poems I wrote in the months right after my mother passed away in summer of 2020. This is Forest Philosophy. If a tree falls in the forest and no one is around to hear it, does it make a sound? So goes the old philosophical question, trotted out as a simplification of what it means to observe. The truth? They crash down, fall hard and heavy, and there's collateral damage. Other trees, shrubs, the ground itself, where roots tear skyward. Does the tree think, I cannot fall because I will crush the others? My sister always said, big tree fall hard, and it's true. But a tree can lean. It can rest its trunk and limbs against another, more stable, less uprooted. And in that time, roots surfaced and askew, but still drawing from the earth, it can heal and regrow without the sound of splintering and destruction. Red maple. We all anticipated October. It was important to know what leaves would fall on her patch of land, on our patch of land. The cemetery man said, that's a Norway maple. It will just turn yellow and brown. And it did. But at the foot of the grave, a sole red maple blazes alone in the company of green-leaved white pine, hickory, and black cherry. I have seen hundreds. It's a wetland pioneer, standing tall where it's too wet for others. And here, its scarlet and crimson will fly a distinguishing banner for many Octobers to come. The gifts. I believe that all your gifts and foibles were redistributed among us. We all became more generous and spent too much money on presents tucked away for the future, just in case. We all became better listeners and took on the burden of others' lives. We worked harder to keep things in order and became terrible at taking time for ourselves. We sent cards on minor occasions, put flowers in vases, called a friend just to say hello, danced in socks and old t-shirts across the kitchen floor, and laid down each day exhausted and joyful from so much giving. And now these two are, I guess, about possibility. Granite. You saw the single stone in the field and focused on it as a high point in a barren landscape. I lay and leaned upon just one towering outcropping of many, the boulders as abundant as I was. I called you out of the field and into the forest and down to the coast to marvel at this sculpture all around us. You gasped and whispered, I did not know. Dropping to your knees, please let me stay. You had dreamed of long, silent quiescence, but here, with me, you have found the persistent spark of vibrant life, like the mosses and seedlings that grow from this unyielding granite. And this one is called Abandon Yourself to Joy. Why shouldn't we throw ourselves with reckless abandon into the mud and dirt and water, casting off our shoes and socks and not fearing consequence? Why not fall into the arms of a lover and press against old trees, taking advantage of every furtive opportunity? Why can't we chase the sunset in bare feet down dirt roads and kiss with toes on the yellow line when we hit the pavement? The neighbors and the retired principal and the lady at the post office wish they could be this free and this happy.
Here's a word from Talking Information Center.
I'm Jacqueline Porro, Executive Director of the Talking Information Center. The Talking Information Center is a radio broadcast reading service for the blind, low vision, and print-impaired population of South Shore and Boston areas of Massachusetts. Our volunteers read local news, best-selling books, and items of interest to listeners who may not be able to access the print media. At the Talking Information Center, we make our services available at no cost to the listener. Our mission is to promote independence and quality of life through human voice broadcasts. To learn more about the many ways you or a loved one can access the services of the Talking Information Center, including our special radio receivers, smart speakers, listening via telephone, or our brand new mobile app with on-demand programming, please call 781-834-4400, email me at jporo@ticnetwork.org, or visit our website at ticnetwork.org.
Celebrate the life of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and reflect on what his legacy means in America today on January 14th at a Sunday morning joint service held at the Church of the Pilgrimage in Plymouth Town Square, beginning at 10 a.m. A hot breakfast program will take place at 8:30 a.m. the next morning at Plymouth South High School, featuring speakers who participated in actions in the 1960s inspired by MLK. This celebration and remembrance are co-sponsored by Plymouth No Place for Hate, the Bethel AME Church, and the Church of the Pilgrimage. Everyone is welcome. For breakfast program tickets or more information, visit PlymouthNoPlaceForHate.org. As we wrap up 2023 and celebrate the holiday season, some local scene staffers sat down to talk about the holiday movie they return to year after year. We call this next piece, "'Tis the Season." Enjoy.
So the movie I've selected to talk about is Die Hard. Die Hard starts off with John McClane, played by Bruce Willis. He's a New York City cop arriving in LA to meet with his family, meets his wife at her work Christmas party on Christmas Eve, and it's crashed by a group of terrorists and they take the building hostage. After that you have a pretty fantastic action movie based entirely on Christmas Eve. Die Hard might be one of the very first Christmas action movies. I can't think of any older Christmas movies based around an action plot. But since then, I think there's been a few other action movies that have come out based on Christmas. One of my favorite parts of the movie is when one of the terrorists is killed, he's sent down in an elevator, and Hans Gruber delivers the line, "Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho." And that, and I probably can't say the other line, but yippee-ki-yay, mother something. I don't know if I'd say it's my ultimate favorite Christmas movie, but it's definitely up there. When I was younger, me and my cousins would always kind of watch Die Hard on Christmas Eve, so it kind of became like a traditional Christmas movie to watch. All the older adults usually watched something like It's a Wonderful Life, so that wasn't as much for me as Die Hard was. You grow up with classic traditional Christmas films, and they're kind of all very similar and, I don't want to say boring, but predictable. Die Hard is very much not that. It's very exciting and action-packed and a fun Christmas movie.
The movie that I picked was The Nightmare Before Christmas. So the plot of The Nightmare Before Christmas is about Jack Skellington, who is the Pumpkin King of Halloween Town, and he discovers Christmas Town and tries to take his own spin on Christmas, but it causes so much chaos and confusion between all of the different worlds that are within this own universe. So I picked this movie because it's literally both a Halloween and a Christmas movie. And Halloween is my favorite holiday, and I love all Tim Burton films, so it's a nice way to carry over like the spookiness of Halloween into the cheerfulness of Christmas, because I'm not always ready for that like overly cheerful girl from the city comes to live in a rural town, meets the guy of her dreams. Like, that's just not me. So I like having the animation and some slightly twisted aspects, but also a little bit of Christmas cheer. I feel like the main theme of the movie, like at its core, is about identity crisis, because Jack Skellington is going about his life and he's just like, he knows he's the Pumpkin King, this is what he does, and then he starts falling into the routine of just monotony, and then when he finds Christmas Town, he's like, what's this? And that's literally one of the songs where he just goes around, what's this? What's this? And he gets so excited. So I think at its core, it's like trying to find out who you really are, but also appreciating and respecting what somebody else is too.
I picked A Christmas Story because it was a movie that was constantly on in my house growing up. Plot for A Christmas Story is the main character, Ralphie, wants his Red Ryder BB gun, and he's trying to figure out how to get it from Santa. And throughout the whole movie, people are saying, "You'll shoot your eye out, kid," and he's going through all these different lengths to get the Red Ryder BB gun, and he doesn't think he's gonna get it. I think there is a theme to this film. It's kind of that present that you want, especially when you're a kid, and you don't think you're gonna get it, and then when he gets his BB gun, it's like just this really drawn out, like he opens up all the presents at Christmas. He even gets this pink bunny rabbit costume from his aunt or something like that. And you're just thinking of like, those are the presents that like you don't want, but you gotta figure out like, how am I gonna use this? And you relate to that on such a different level. I like it because there's so many scenes in this movie. In particular, one that kind of sticks out to me is when Ralphie's going up to see Santa. And they're in this mall, and he has to wait in line, and there's some kid with like these glass goggles and everything, and he goes, "I like Santa," and then it cracks me up every time. And then they have this whole kind of Wizard of Oz thing going on throughout the movie, where the Wicked Witch comes up and says, you know, gives a whole spiel to Ralph, and he's like, "Not now, I'm busy." And he's just this little kid, like being so adult about getting his, trying to get his BB gun from Santa.
Okay, so I really thought about all the movies that I could have picked throughout my childhood. So I had to think about the one defining film that like defined me as a kid. I would have to say that was Home Alone. I really think that as a kid growing up, when you watch that movie, you're like, who doesn't want to have their house all to themselves, get rid of all their siblings, all their family members, and just like live large, eat all the ice cream sundaes, eat all the pizza, eat my macaroni and cheese in peace. It's wonderful. I get to watch all the R movies that I want. So it was a perfect movie because it's like everything you wanted as a kid. It's a very nostalgic movie for me. Home Alone really, like, there's just some very beautiful moments, even some things that we say now, "Merry Christmas, you filthy animal." So like, there are just some magical lines that I've kept with me, and anytime I think of Christmas, I really think of Home Alone. There are a lot of scenes that are my favorite, but in particular, it's when he's finally setting up. So to set up the movie, this kid gets stuck at home alone when his family goes to another country without him. So they go, and then these two bandits, the wet bandits, they try to rob his house, and he doesn't want them to. So he sets up like micro machines under the windows and like sharp ornaments on the floor, and he basically he booby traps the entire entire house so these two villains can't get in. And it's just amazing from start to finish, like the ingenuity. We all wanted to just like swipe the stuff off of our desk, put a map down, and just like organize our house and like arm it to the fullest. Why not? Underneath it all, between, you know, the humor and the sarcasm and everything, it's really about family. And learning that Christmas is about family and that we all need to appreciate and love our relatives a little more.
So for 'Tis the Season, I decided to pick Violent Nights. As I get older, you know, Christmas movies are such a classic tradition for me and my family, but as you kind of like age up, you look for new Christmas holiday films, and last year they came out with Violent Nights, which was more of a die-hard John Wick style of Christmas film. So essentially David Harbour, who plays Santa Claus in this film, is essentially over like 1,000 years old, and he's gotten to the point where Amazon packages and money and video games and just material values have kind of destroyed the tradition of Christmas, and he has gotten to the point where he almost doesn't really believe anymore. And the plot, without spoiling too much, is mainly about this family that gets held hostage on Christmas, and Santa ends up going to their house to deliver presents, only to get interrupted by a gunfight and have to take down one of the killers. This whole fight breaks out, and essentially it turns into now Santa Claus having to save this, mind you, terrible family. They're not good people, except for like maybe a few of them, like the little girl and her family. But everybody else is just terrible people of this family, and now he has to save them. My favorite, without spoiling too much, is at the beginning of the film, there is this bar scene where essentially a mall Santa is talking with the actual Santa Claus. And after a bit of discussion about what Christmas is about nowadays in modern times, where people are more about the gifts that they get than the actual people that they're with, he gives a present to the bartender, who is surprised that he knows who their grandchild is. Essentially walks off to the rooftop, and she's like, "Where are you going? That's the roof." It sets the tone for a comedic holiday film. As Santa flies over her head, she throws up off the side of the sleigh and just covers her in vomit. It's nasty. But the whole film is like that. It gets worse, you know, very gory, very in your face, but at the same time, very comedic. And it's a family Christmas movie for adults, definitely not kids. I would not watch it with anyone under 16 for sure. This is not the Santa that you grew up with.
My selection is Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut. Tom Cruise plays a very wealthy doctor that lives in Manhattan, and his wife, at the time, in real life, was Nicole Kidman. She plays his wife. She's a stay-at-home mom, and they have a child together. They go to an extravagant party of one of his patients, and while they're there, both of them get flirted with some of the partygoers. And when they get back to the house, they have a discussion, and it becomes like a very stupid argument. And Nicole Kidman's character talks about, like, I really wanted to cheat on you at one point. I would have risked it all. And it's really hurtful to him. And so what happens is he goes on a house call, but he takes that opportunity to just walk around New York, and he kind of encounters different people that kind of tempt him and kind of relate to his story thematically. And he gets into a little bit of trouble. Well, it's one of my favorite films ever. It's like in my top 4 on Letterboxd, so how could I not? Because it's also a Christmas film. My interpretation of it is, I think a lot of it, it's a critique on relationships, especially when juxtaposed with class. I think I'm fascinated with the institution of marriage, especially since we always talk about you're supposed to marry for love, but there's so many other factors in play. And Nicole Kidman's character is not happy in her marriage, and her husband is completely oblivious to it. And it just kind of explores human desire and how that's sometimes counterintuitive to our duties and the things that we think that we want, the things that we think are going to make us happy. My favorite scene is the one where Nicole Kidman is at the party at the very beginning, absolutely sloshed, and this Hungarian guy comes up to her and starts to aggressively flirt with her. It's just a really great scene. It's fun because she plays drunk in such a fun way, and also it's like my second favorite delivery of the line, "I'm married." She goes, "I'm married." That can't be topped.
I picked The Apartment by Billy Wilder. The story follows Bud Baxter, played by Jack Lemmon, who hails from Massachusetts. And he's this on-the-go, on-the-rise insurance executive who's ambitious, climbing up the career ladder. And he's ambitious in a certain way that's not just hard work. It turns out that he is loaning his Upper West Side apartment to his superiors so they can use the apartment for their extramarital liaisons. And Bud is more than happy to offer it, of course, at the toll of his own health and his personal life. But things get a little bit complicated when he falls for Fran Kubelik, played by Shirley MacLaine. And she's the elevator operator. And he's smitten with her, but the problem is she's the mistress of his new boss, Jeff Sheldrake, played by Fred McMurray. And it's set against the backdrop of New York City as the holidays progress with Christmas and New Year's. I think The Apartment is really one of the best examples of a holiday movie. I think it's really one of the first holiday movies I've ever seen where Christmas is a backdrop, but it does play a role, not as heavily as a role as It's a Wonderful Life or A Christmas Story would. But I like the idea that these are single people who, in some way, are looking for love or validation. Bud and Fran, certainly embodying those characters. And it's just one of the things I love about it. That and Billy Wilder, I've made a discovery of his work, and it's part of a really great run for him. Because he made Double Indemnity in 1944, and then he made The Apartment in 1960. And in between that are some incredible films he made. And The Apartment, in some respects, is his holiday film. My favorite scene in the film, in general, is Bud is at work. And the night before, he had to put up with a superior who made a last-minute request. Bud had to give up his apartment after he's taking sleeping medicine. And he ends up sleeping on a park bench. And, of course, it's cold out. So the very next day, he comes into work sick. And he realizes he needs his apartment to rest and relax. So he calls his superior who had the apartment booked that night. And it becomes this trickle-down effect where various calls are made through all these other superiors trying to rearrange their nights with their mistresses. All at the expense of Bud just simply trying to recuperate from his illness, all caused by his superiors. It's a very ironic moment, but it always makes me laugh. Bud Baxter goes through the trials of love, and there's a moment in the film where he's drowning his sorrows in a bar, and it's actually one of the film's more iconic comedic moments where he ends up encountering this drunk Santa who says he parked his sleigh the wrong way. And the look Bud gives him, and he's wearing this hat that just does not look good on him, the look he gives the Santa, and the Santa goes, okay, clearly not the right person to talk to, and saunters off. I think that whole scene encompasses why I love the film because it kind of shows maybe the dark side of Christmas. It's a very joyous time, but then there are parts where there are people who don't have families to celebrate with, and The Apartment kind of makes you look at that.
And that, my friends, is our last show of 2023 and wraps up 5 years of bringing you what's good and good to know on the local scene. We have a lot more planned for the future and are excited to get there with you. But for now, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and a joyful, prosperous New Year. We'll see you in 2024. Thank you for watching. We are grateful for your attention. If you like what you saw, please like and subscribe to the local scene here and share everywhere. Thank you, friends.